Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. If you have been following the Idaho versus Kohberger case, you are undoubtedly aware that the case was highly sealed, with many documents, evidence, and hearings conducted not in the public realm, but behind closed doors, sealed from public disclosure. This case was deemed closed almost 6 months ago after Mr. Kohberger pled guilty as he did on July 2nd, 2025. The jury trial, which is when the public expected that the state of Idaho's evidence proving beyond a reasonable doubt in what was a capital case proceeding for over 2.5 years, would be brought out into the public domain. That, of course, did not happen because the jury trial scheduled for August of 2025 was canceled when Mr. Kohberger pled guilty. I would like to call to your attention a declaration, which is a filing submitted under penalty of perjury, of Rebecca Boone in support of a motion to be heard and to unseal records that was filed by the Media Coalition back in July. You can find this declaration on the court docket. It is dated July 14th, 2025. I encourage you to read it. This document begins by providing some background information on who Ms. Boone is. She is an investigative journalist, supervisory correspondent for Idaho for the Associated Press, based out of Boise. She has 26 years of journalism industry experience, per her declaration, much of that time spent covering the judicial branch and criminal judicial issues. She reported on the November 13th, 2022, unalivings for four University of Idaho students in the subsequent criminal investigation and the arrest and prosecution of Mr. Kohberger. She details that she graduated from the University of Idaho with a bachelor's degree in journalism in 1999, that she covered the courts and law enforcement for the Lewiston Tribune, which is located close to Moscow, before she joined the Associated Press in 2002 and became a reporter for the Boise Bureau. In 2013, she was promoted to her current position of supervisory correspondent tasked with leading AP's news coverage in Idaho. She has extensive experience covering criminal and civil litigation in state and federal courts. She was an Idaho Press Club board member from 2014 to 2023 when she stepped down due to time constraints. She is a longtime advisory board member of the University of Idaho School of Journalism and Mass Media. She became a Loyola Law School Journalism Law School Fellow in 2022. She has also regularly served as a panelist for training programs offered to teachers and journalists through a partnership between the University of Idaho, College of Law, the Idaho Supreme Court, and the U.S. District Court, that's federal court in Idaho. She has co-written and presented continuing legal education programming, and she trains attendees on subjects including news literacy, how to access court documents, the ethics of covering the courts, how to incorporate the rule of law into press coverage, and why press coverage in the judicial branch is vital for an informed citizenry. She goes on and begins to speak about the Idaho versus Kohberger case and says words to the effect that she does not know of a case that was so sealed as this case was. She states that many of the sealed documents have been kept secret in order to ensure that a fair and impartial jury may be seated so that Mr. Kohberger could receive his constitutional right to a fair trial. But now that a jury trial would not be impaneled, the court should unseal the documents and honor Idaho's constitutional promise of open courts. She states that court practices set in formal precedent and a culture of secrecy should not be the norm for Idaho. She talks about the connection between the First Amendment and open coverage of cases. She states that court records should be unsealed at the earliest possible opportunity. She actually counted the orders to seal documents, and she said that Judge Hippler signed more orders sealing documents than the prior judges did. Now, mind you, she wrote this on July 14th, 2025. It is now over 5 months later, and the court is going through the very slow process of unsealing a few documents at a time. As of today, the 22nd of December, only a few items from May, June, July, and August of 2025 have been unsealed, with more documents being sealed to the public even after the court case was closed as it was in July of 2025. The link to this declaration is included in the description to this podcast episode. I encourage you to read it. Thank you for joining us here today.